Arsenal.
No.
Yeah, what about them?
Exactly.
An absolute shambles. An absolute shambles. I mean, when they're going forward, when they get the ball into the front players, when they're playing on the counter-attack with pace, Pepe looks good. Aubameyang looks like he's going to score 2 or 3 goals every game with his movement and his pace. Ceballos, when he's on the ball, makes things happen. Even Ozil at the weekend picked out a good pass for Maitland-Niles. But when they haven't got the ball, some of their defensive play was absolutely shocking in terms of their recovery runs, their shape. It was too open. The speed of the recovery runs wasn't good enough. The athleticism wasn't good enough. And then when they're trying to play out from the back, I saw them against Burnley when Burnley kept on winning the ball back, and that was at the Emirates. And they kept on winning the ball back by pressing players high up the field, and Arsenal still tried to play out from the back. They just haven't learnt their lesson. I mean, the twice they gave the ball away when they played it into Guendouzi, there's no room for him to play. And he tries to get turned. They nick the ball off him. They can't score in the first half, Watford. But the second one, Socrates, I mean, what's he doing? But that comes down from the manager. The manager's told them to do that, to play out from the back, even when the opposition press the ball. And unless they change that, they're going to give so many goals away this season.
Robbo, never have happened if Steve Bold.
Spoiler alert, Robbo, it's not Wenger, you know. He's left.
Should have given the job to Steve Bold. That's what they should have done.
Well, I tell you the thing, the Arsenal, Robbo mentioned their defensive structure, which has always, in recent times, been a headache for them. And I don't just mean defence. I mean, you could throw in the strikers, but primarily midfield and defence as a defensive structure. But I think one of the biggest problems, not just over the weekend, but over the last couple of years, is when they're in possession, in good possession, and Robbo mentioned the attacking players that they've got, we know they're exciting to watch going forward. And there lies the problem. Quite often when they lose the ball or it gets nicked, they have no real structure in place when the ball's lost, and they get broken down far too easily. And I think it's organisation. It's having somebody, experienced players that are saying, making sure they're not getting 6 and 7 players ahead of the ball all at once when they get caught, and they at least have a full-back, some defensive midfielders around to cover those attacking players. I don't think they have that or clever enough to deal with it.
Staying in North London, Shaq. Are Tottenham back? Our Tottenham supporting producer.
I think Tottenham are back and established themselves as the 3rd best team in the league. But then that's in part because of how poor everybody else has been during the same piece. Started slowly, but listen, a good performance on the weekend. I still think 3rd place is theirs to lose, but I don't see them finishing any higher.
Tottenham back, Robbo? You want to say something? What were you going to say?
They played well at the weekend. They played well at the weekend because they got back to what they're good at doing. And that was playing balls over the top, players making forward runs, winning the ball back quickly. That's what we thought Pochettino was maybe 6 months ago. That's what Tottenham did. They were high energy, high pressing, balls over the top, players making forward runs. That's what they did against Crystal Palace. They haven't done that for the last 3 or 4 months, and that's why they've just gone off the boil.
Final question.
Yeah.
Is Tammy Abraham's better than you thought?
Well, there's a different way to answer this. He's not necessarily better than I thought, but he's done better than I thought. Does that register?
No, not at all.
I'm a little confused too.
He's on a real roll at the moment. At the moment. So he's performed better than I thought, but I still think he's a player over the piece.
You think someone he's overachieving at the moment?
Yes. And I think he's done brilliant. And I've got a great start for you.
Oh, God.
You want to hear this?
Yeah, I do.
This is the first time. It's the first time in Premier League history that 11 consecutive goals that Chelsea have scored, or any team, have been scored by players aged 21 and under. Now, is that not... What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Now, is that not completely against the grain of what this club's been all about? That's my point in recent years. So it's a great time for these youngsters, and they're all doing well.
But it's all going to go wrong.
No, not necessarily, but I don't think he can keep that pace up. 7 goals in the Premier League is a brilliant start, which is what I think he's got. And they're all been given their head by Frank Lampard. And you've got the other 2 coming back, and Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi. I saw Pulisic was on the bench. But these young guys, I mean, to go to Wolves and win 5-2, that's fantastic.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.